Okay, so I wanted to try this plugin that I see online on YouTube, and I've seen it people talking about it. It's called the company's called I guess called Visco, and it's Forever 89. It's a drum program. I think it's more like a modeling type thing that you're gonna use. There is a manual in here. Of course, you can resize this. Let's resize it now, make it 150 so you can see it a little bit better. And then they have a theme folder. I don't really know what that's about, but this is what it looks like. So you have 8 different waveforms or 8 different drums, we're going to call them, with mute and solo on them. This thing comes with the sound, obviously the sequencer, which is actually not bad for a sequencer. I actually like the sequencer more than anything else, but then it has a modulator that you can use the LFOs and the envelopes and different things if you want to do that, and a mixer, which is kind of cool because you got all the parameters that you can get real that you can shape and build your sounds from, and of course the send effects here. Down at the bottom you can lock the BPM to your DAW's tempo. I'm going to lock it to that. If you don't, you can play it within here, and this is your play button. Pretty self-explanatory. You have a clean start, which is your basic starting. You can also use some of these other presets they have where they've shaped some of the sounds, and then you go from there. And then there's a dice, and what the dice does is it, depending on which one of these you're on, it'll change which kick is in there. So I'm going to go back to a clean start and go there. Then you have all the modifying settings over here, but you also have some tools. So this is your drag tool. It allows you to push and pull the blob when you're dragging on it, to size it. And then you have stuff like the attract tool, which attracts the blob when you're dragging it. So all these tools can make the sound change a little bit. This is a repel tool. It says it repel. I'm sorry, repel. Repel. To repels the blob when dragging on the canvas. Then you have a mirror that inverts it, and this is the Y version of that to reverse the timeline. And then the undo and redo button, which is huge in most things you want. To me, this was the most important section, but in my opinion, because you could shape it down here using the transform, the and the time scale here, frequency, contrast, and then the density. So a lot of this, you can see how it's changing the sound, and then it's doing the same thing up here, but it's just using these buttons, which I prefer to look at this than this. It just preference, it has nothing to really do with anything else. Um, so there's that kick. I'm pressing on it here so you can hear. You can sample it here or use a keyboard. So you only have 8 tracks, right? Per. I don't think there is a way to increase the tracks. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't see anything in here to increase the tracks. So you pretty much stuck with 8, which is fine because most people don't need much more than that. I use pretty much 3. You can see over here. And occasionally I'll have a percussion, and then I might have like an open hat, or maybe I'll put the hats all on one and not really use 2 different ones. Just depends. Um, but that's pretty much it. You do have this ability to shape the linear line. This is a linear velocity curve, so you can change the velocity curve on it, which is kind of cool. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this right here pulls through. So this is a huge kick. This is a simple kick, right? You can change these and pick different ones, and then you can find sound that goes in between them to shape the sound. So I think, as far as sound shaping, I think this thing is amazing. Like, if you're looking for something where you can kind of build your own. So let's say you want to go here. I like this as far as that goes. I like the sound, and I definitely like the sequencer. Um, Here's a snare. So you can pick two sounds and do that. Now I wonder if they let you import your own. Fit to audio file, show folder. So I know you can see what's in the folder. You can save the blob that you created. There's sounds in it, and there's some miscellaneous sounds too they've added. You know, the one thing I don't see, and it may be in here and I'm just overlooking it, is I didn't see where you can bring your own sounds in. So you pretty much, you know that you're getting this using their sounds. Maybe, because this is the demo version, so maybe in the full version you can bring your own sounds in. I don't really know. If you don't like the 808 clap, you can move towards this clap. Or somewhere in between. And then you can transform even that even more. So you got all these options to color the sound, transform it. All right, sequencer, we're gonna move on for time purpose. So here's a kick on the, it's pretty much a grid, right? So it's, and then you have the swing, the loose time, and the loose velocity, and the ability to export your MIDI, which is kind of nice. So I don't fully grasp this. I know you can clear all tracks on that. So if you right click, you can clear the tracks on there. All right, so if you just click, it puts one in, right? And then you can adjust how much of that kick is extended. You can actually move the kick off the grid if you want yourself, which is kind of cool. So like, here's, I didn't mean to do that. Go back to sequencer. So let's say you wanted to do something. This is not what I would normally do, but click, then move it off. And then if you press play, so you see how it does that. And then just adjust your velocities of how much you want of it. So maybe you want a lot less there. Maybe adjust that one. So I think this is great. The way they made it so simple to adjust and maneuver stuff. I mean, it's pretty simple. They made it very, very simple to use. There's a kick. You can put I don't know, I'm just going to make something up real quick. And then we'll use that one. Adjust the volume on these. And then I usually put my kicks or snares a little bit before the grid. So if you need something simple, they don't let you make adjustments. For some reason, you can't make adjustments, or at least I haven't figured out how. Hold on, let me see. While it's going, so I don't know why they won't let me just, there you go, pull that there. All right, let's try it. It disappeared. Huh. Okay. So you see you get the point. It's pretty simple. It's not much to explain. Of course, you can swing it a little bit more. Let's just see. I'm gonna take that last one off. Loosen up the velocities a little bit. I'm not sure if that's the metronome in, hold on a second. Is that the metronome in here that's doing that? I'm gonna turn that down just about right there. Or is it their internal metronome? Oh, that's this. I'm tripping. My bad. So one of the things I don't like, let's say I want to move all this stuff. I can see that. Let me see if it lets you. Nope. So that's a pain right there. Like if you gotta manually, I'm okay with manually doing stuff, but like if I need to move this, you can't move it to another. For me, I like to be able to adjust notes that way. I prefer a grid on a piano roll because I can select all the notes, move them all to wherever. I got more control. With this, you pretty much got to sit there and manually put them in one by one. But for some people, this is how they prefer to make music. Um, One of the things I don't know is if, and I don't see on here, is anything with trigs where you, because if I'm only working with one bar, that's not good. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could just export the MIDI, which is good. They let you just drag and drop the MIDI out, but that's like literally one bar. So what would that do for me? I don't. It would be, for me personally, it'd be pointless. And also another thing is, I'd like to see this little area here. Put a little dice or something here, and let it randomize the, um, like have maybe 2 to 3 dice right here on each track or something, where you could randomize the MIDI or something. I don't know. That would be kind of cool. Um, I do see all this stuff in here to transform. This is like your target of what you could do, the source of how you're going to use the envelopes and stuff. I probably wouldn't want to do all this. It seems more like work to me than making music, but that's me personally, how I feel. This is my take on it. Doesn't mean it's wrong. I'm just saying, or right or whatever. I'm just saying that's how I feel about it. You do have your sins, okay. And they give you different options for that. Different options. They got an LA optical, okay. Tape simulator, transformer, amp. Yeah, so you got two. You can have two. Looks like two MIDI effects, and then two send effects, depending on what you're gonna use. In a DAW, I mean, that's not really that. This is not a big issue to me at all because I would probably, if I was using this, I guess I'd honestly be just using this to get the sounds, to shape the sounds. I would probably not use this modulator, this mixer, or this sequencer. I would just use the sound and play it in my DAW because this sequencer is kind of limiting because you only got a bar to work with. So you'd have to do a bar, then stop, then get in here. So maybe there's something I'm missing, but that's what I see at this, on the demo at least. Um, and for me, that would not work at all. But for many, maybe it would. So, but the sounds in here the sound shaping, let me say, is incredible. I like that part of it. I think the sound shaping is the best part of this. I was thinking the sequencer was the best part, but now realizing how limiting it is, I'm going to say that the sounds shaping tools are pretty cool. Otherwise, I think it's on sale right now for the entry price of like 100, normally 140. I don't perceive myself getting it because it's just not something I would use. I don't make drums like this. But for somebody who really likes the sequencer and likes the look of this thing, all the little tools you can drag stuff, and I don't know, it's pretty cool. Visually, it looks good. I will give the UI a nice A plus on the visual because it's fun to look at, but I can see myself not using this much. That's it for this video. I just wanted to give you my opinion, my thoughts on what I see on as far as the Visco's Forever 89. If you like it, try the demo first, I'd say, before you commit to it, because it is quite pricey for what it does. And see if you like it. If you like it, then go for it. If you don't, I get that too. So that's it for this one, and I'm out.